Fly, fly, oh to be a fly. Fly, fly, come and be a fly on the wall.
Hello there. Hey, you. Our house is a mess. Get your butt in here. Welcome to Fly on the Wallin podcast, where we talk about dating, parenting, and where we record it all for the world to see, baby. I'm your neighborhood-friendly black girl, Amber.
And I'm B to the E to the N, Ben. Hey.
Oh, we're rapping today. That's new.
I'm trying to introduce our child to more styles of music because she gets a lot of the folk acoustic. So I've been rapping for her.
Oh.
We've been listening to Tupac. Not to say that me and Tupac are on a similar level at all, not
Right.
implying that. But if someone else wants to make that comparison, I'm totally okay with that.
Of course.
But-
you and Tupac in the same sentence.
You know how, here's the thing though, a lot of people will sing nursery rhymes.
Right.
But I think we need to normalize rapping nursery.
Absolutely.
Because, that is a big part of Wild's culture,
Of course.
being black. And it's important that she experiences everything,
Right,
even
right.
if it's from a white mouth.
Okay,
like
so
black-
what nursery rhyme will you be rapping for us today on the show? Just to give a demo for
Okay,
other
yeah,
parents out
yeah.
there. Which one?
Give me a beat.
A what?
Give me a beat.
Uh,
Not the beat of
boom, boom, boom,
Mary had a
boom, boom,
little lamb. Mary had a Mary had a little lamb, and her fleece was white as snow. Yeah.
What?
Mary decided she wanted some lamb chops. She slit her lamb's throat and grilled it.
Ben,
That's not.
I
that's
didn't
not
know
how
you
the
were going to go
nursery
full
rhyme-
gangster. No, that's not how the nursery rhyme ends. Okay. So we'll work on it. You were actually staying on beat. I was worried about my beat.
You sounded great.
Thank you. I was put on the spot. Real me, I would have got the nails involved. A little Dolly Parton.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe got the mule involved with the shoe.
Ooh.
These shoes are on their way out anyway. Can I show you why I really can't even wear them to the club anymore? That's how.
Wow.
That's where we've gotten.
Oh my goodness!
I know,
they
but
got like a mouth in there. There's like that
They
green
talking.
slime.
They talking, but look, you can't tell
You
once
can't
I put
tell.
them back
You
on.
can't tell once you put
so
them back
we all
on.
good. I'm still that girl.
Yeah,
I got them on ASOS for like $20.
poverty.
My shoes are impoverished, but my mind is not.
Yes,
Going back to
that's
last
true.
week. Anyway, for those of you also not in poverty, like my mind, you should head on over to that City Winery website, baby, because we will be in the Atlanta area for Fly on the Wallin Live, the podcast on steroids, on a stage near you. So go to Fly on the Wallin Live. We are going to also be joined by the fabulous comedian Mel Mitchell. She will be opening the show. Fanita's going to be emceeing on the ones and twos. So it's going to be a very, very fun night, and we cannot wait to see you there in ATL, ho.
Yeah.
ATL, ho.
ATL, huh? It just felt racist saying ATL, huh?
Got
I don't know.
it.
It's just
Got
like the
you.
way you put the thump in it. I was
Thump.
like, I'm like, but we're gonna have a battle in the Addle. Get it? Addle, ATL. Attle. That's what.
The Battle in the Addle is definitely the episode name. I don't care what's going on. That is so bad. That is so bad that it has to be there. Ben, so
Yes, ma'am.
the first segment of the show, for those of you who are new to the show, welcome. The first segment of the show is called #Influence, where we talk about our lives just as, content creators, influencers, and the like.
And how you can go from making $0 a month to making 6 figures
Yeah, but you do kind of got to sell your soul a little bit. You got to peddle
and
products
be
here and
incredibly
there.
lucky.
Yes,
and
yes. And
talented.
consistent. We're consistent too.
We're consistent.
I feel like even when I do brand deals, I write them like commercials. So they're
You
not
do.
quite insufferable. I really
Yeah.
put in my best work with a commercial that will be dropping soon. Okay. So Ben, so this is how today's episode works. Ben planned the first segment today, and then I planned the second segment. So I really didn't review yours that much because I heard you talking about it in the garage, but I kind of want to be like shocked on the spot. So you have right here about recording relationships and showing
Yeah.
them online. So what made you think about this? And then I'll read the statistic that you gave me.
Well, there's a study that recently was done, and they've been doing studies about this, but looking at relationships and how people post about their relationships and whether the posting about their relationship affects their relationship. So what has been shown that if you post a bunch about your relationship, you're probably unhappy about your relationship.
Oh, is that what the statistics said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Everything's fine. Do you?
that tickled me.
Okay, on a scale of 0 to insanely happy, where are you right now?
I'm very happy in our relationship.
You don't have to laugh for the camera.
No, I am very happy. But
Me
I
too.
think there's a specific way that people post about their relationship, like my, best husband of the year type of thing. Where Amber's constantly posting about how I'm probably the worst husband of the week.
Yeah.
Probably the best husband of the year. But definitely I'm always the worst husband of the week, but somehow that doesn't affect me getting the best husband of the year award.
Right.
Right. So there's
Somehow,
certain kinds
some
of
way.
content.
What's the rubric? We need to make a rubric at this point.
Right. But then there was a study that was done 2012 when Facebook started to get really, really popular. And there was an image that I will never forget. It's two people like embracing, but looking at their phones. They're embracing nakedly, but just completely miserable. And they look at their phones sort of over the other person's shoulder. It's a very ominous, scary image. And I remember reading that and being like, I'm never going to like have my life online.
Oh.
In 2011, 2012. I was totally...
University at home, my beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we met, you had you might have had a Facebook,
I
but you had an
Facebook,
Instagram
yeah.
and it had 12 followers. And,
Yeah.
it had a picture of like a lizard or something on there. Like it wasn't really your face.
First of all, it was a salamander, so disrespectful.
Okay,
You're
Matilda.
a species.
It's actually a newt. Anyway, the Instagram was giving absolutely nothing. I remember thinking when I swiped right on you, I was like, this is refreshing. He's not like obsessed with his self-image
Yeah.
online.
I was also too poor really to have a phone or anything like that. Yeah, so there was a poverty element that was in play here. But yeah, I didn't have Snapchat, Instagram.
You just weren't creative. I feel like
I think there's
a way to take, your woes and like some of the best creators I follow. It's not because they make like lifestyles of the rich and famous content. They make like they're in their double wide trailer doing Get Ready With Me's, and I love it.
Right. But
They're just
also,
consistent.
most authors are not spending time online. So there's lots of creative people that are not.
I see what
online.
you mean. Or there's actually this. I've been seeing a lot of content of people. This has kind of been air quote controversial, I'll say. There have been a couple of creators who have been vlogging this sort of like nomad lifestyle. So they'll be like, hey, like day 72 of me living in my car by choice or whatever. And I remember reading a comment section under one of these videos. I'll go find them and put them in the episode notes. But it almost the way the editing style was made it look like a luxury to be like, I've abandoned all bills, expenses, and whatever to just like be present and live in my car and sleep in a different city every night. Like I know this sounds like wild to me, but like this one Black girl creator, she has tons of followers. I think she's verified on Instagram and everything. If somebody knows who this is before I find it, let me know. And she has content where she films in her car, and it kind of stylistically looks really cool. Like she's in different cities, she's traveling on the road, she's having new experiences. And she shows like where
Making
she showers
homeless
and stuff.
chic.
It's a little like the aesthetic is homeless energy. And so there are people in the comments being like, why are you like glamorizing this? And then there's other people being like, why can't she just like live in her car and tell her story as well? So just depends on how things are edited sometimes. But you said at the time, I'm sorry, I completely derailed us.
No, let's stay on that conversation for a second. So there are people who I see like live in a bus. to be the difference is what kind of things they're posting.
Okay.
Right. So if you like your partner, you're going to spend a lot of time with them. So if you're spending a lot of time with them and you're sharing things on Facebook, they're just going to be a lot of your content. If you like to go hiking, if you like to go skiing, if you like to go bowling or like to do things together, you like to go out to eat, that's just going to show up. So that's a different kind of content than writing a post about your man or your wife being like, my wife really has really supported me and blah, blah, blah. Like just bullshit kinds of things.
Yeah, just show us. Don't tell us.
Just show us.
Yeah, okay, so the statistic that you found, it says when individuals were asked how they would rank their relationship on average, just 10% of those who posted couples content would rank themselves as very happy, in contrast to 46% who rarely share their relationship online. And then you said here in Psychology Today, relationship posts are an indication of a happy relationship, and relationship posts involve overcompensation for an unhappy relationship. Our research suggests that both are true.
Right.
So you're saying some are overcompensating by posting the happy stuff, and some are. Do you think? Question.
Living their life together, and then we share our lives
both are
online.
true. Do you think that the OG version of this is like the yearly Christmas card in matching PJs?
Yeah, that's funny.
I always think about that. Like I get to, like, sometimes I send a Christmas card. Obviously I send one now because Wild is growing or whatever. But I remember thinking to myself, like, it's kind of irrelevant because I literally post Wild. Like she's running the back of some video like every other day. So I guess like the original idea behind sending a Christmas family card is like, oh, look how their child is growing. I haven't seen them in so long. But whenever I get hit with one of those like Christmas cards and matching PJs, I'm like, oh, trouble in paradise, huh? Not the lumberjack PJ. You know what I'm talking about? The flannel, the black and red. I'm like,
I know.
ooh, vacation in Hawaii, y'all good over there? Like, it would be crazy.
And it's not even Hawaii. It's just a background of Hawaii.
Yes, like the Walmart backdrop
Yeah,
of like Easter. You're like, wow, pretty rough right now. So what's a healthy amount of couples posting? Like if you met some new guy and you're excited about him, and because there's also, you remember?
I think it depends why you're posting.
One letter,
just ask yourself why you're posting about it.
Yeah, remember when we had that one letter that was about that girl whose like boyfriend doesn't let her access his social media or whatever? That's a little bit different. So why are we posting, I guess is the question.
We want to make money. And we don't want to.
It's not true, Ben. It's nice to make money, but
sorry.
We want to make
you laugh. Yeah,
what?
I forgot. That's the number one thing. Yeah.
You are a scoundrel.
I'm kidding.
I'm just saying because
you can't. That's a joke. I'm joking.
I'm not
Amber
acting like
is
it doesn't
comedian.
make money. It makes money.
It makes money, but
I ain't gonna
that's
hold
not the reason.
But it doesn't make money for a very long time because it was just funny.
Exactly. You've been posting things and then going and teaching children and going to yoga. So you've been posting on Snapchat. There's hilarious, funny Snapchat things that Snapchat owns in their servers.
Like 6 or 7 years, yeah.
Yeah, where you were not making any money. It was just like, I like the attention and I enjoy being the spotlight.
I'll take attention and spotlight over I only post to make money.
Absolutely not. That's fucked up. I did not mean that in that way.
I know.
That's why I post.
That's why you post.
Just kidding. I post because I want people to laugh. I want people to think. I want people to reflect. I want people to listen to my music. Check out, I've posted some really great songs. Beautiful music.
Hey, follow me. Hey,
follow me.
Stream.
Give me a follow. Give me a look.
Oh my gosh. I mean, posting to make money is a real thing.
It is.
Like, I see like those podcasts that are trying to bait people into a fight, and I'm like, oh, this is a money making.
If you want to post to make money, what you do is you create some sort of like travel Instagram post and just repost the most like viral videos that you find of travel, and then link that account to like a shopping account of some sort, and then you get like residuals when people go and shop. And you do this. You post like 50 of these videos every single day. Just find the most viral travel accounts, and then get what is that, like travel advisory to pay you. So every time you get a click, I know people have been supposedly making like $50,000 a month doing that, and so. Because you're spending time, but that's your only reason for posting, and you're not creating any original content. Where Amber and I only want to create original content. We
Yeah.
only want to be funny. We only want to make
Or
people be.
when we're not funny, I do like a I hope this makes you think moment.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll do one of those every
Reflection.
now and then because that's the journey that I'm experiencing at the time.
Reflecting. Yeah, you are a reflector. You're like a whole mirror.
I try
how
to
much
reflect.
You reflect.
You taught me how to reflect a lot too. I just
love
think
it.
sometimes, or I feel like a note that I get a lot from people is like, show more of the happy, like poetic, beautiful moments between you and Ben. It's like, well, I'm experiencing those. Like those
Yeah.
are mine.
Or
You
the
can
other
get the
option
laughs.
is they're not happening. But I can tell you that they are happening.
Wow.
No, well, like even tonight, we're about to try a new restaurant that
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
I'm not posting.
and
I'm not taking any pictures. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, we're gonna go, and it's just gonna be Amber and I, and we're gonna sit at the bar because you can't get reservations at this. Amber hates the bar. Amber hates the bar. Her little short, stumpy legs.
I hate legs dangling like a toddler.
Oh, you look so cute.
No, why? I'm a grown woman. My feet should be on the ground.
Amber, you are a growing woman. You will never be grown.
Excuse me.
Yeah, because the
You-
idea of
now
like
you-
grown, like I've made it. Like we have to
Okay.
have
You mean I'm
a
grown
growth
at my
mindset.
my career is growing.
Your growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Growth mindset here. A thing I'm a grown woman. I hate when people say I'm a grown man. No, you're not. And the fact that you had to say you're a grown man tells me that you're not a grown man.
So you're saying that grown is indicative of some sort of like
Completion, like I've
Yes,
done it,
I
I've
got
made it, like, and it just because by the very nature of my age, I deserve some sort of respect. Fuck you. You don't deserve it. Just because you made so many birthdays.
you can be grown in certain ways in certain industries.
Like, yeah, but the phrase "I'm a grown man," "I'm a grown woman," no,
I
you're
like
not.
it.
There's
I'm a grown up.
I hate that. I hate the term "grown." No, never grow up. Never being a grown up.
Okay, Peter Pan. You ready for the next segment?
Yeah, next segment.
Ooh, this is the one that you don't know about that I researched. You ready for this?
Imperfect,
I want
imperfect parent.
our next segment is called Imperfect Parent, where we was this.
That Amber's getting the Holy Ghost.
I know. All right, let me try that again.
Your lips look amazing, by
Thank
the way.
you.
They're stunning.
Stunting, darling.
God.
Thank
The
you. 'Cause
things
you
I
was-
would
you
do
was
to
talking,
your
You was
lips.
talking about the lips last week. Now you love them. Back then they didn't
I've
want me.
always loved your lips.
You.
I
Can
just said
somebody
they're
roll
not
the tape for last week?
hydrated. I said they
Can
weren't
somebody
hydrated.
please roll the tape for last week? Anyway, skinny way. Listen, the next segment of our show is called Imperfect Parent, okay? Where we talk about our new journey as parents as we are currently raising, I guess she would be a 19-month-old named Wild. So, Ben, initial thoughts on this. I found this really cool thing. A restaurant in Georgia is now charging for bad parenting. Okay. This restaurant, if you come in with your child and your child is unruly, they are adding a $50 surcharge to your bill. Initial thoughts.
So here's my thing with terms. We talked about, Amber and I talk a lot about value judgment terms. And for those who don't know, a value judgment is simply good, bad, unruly, undisciplined. So that's a value
Okay.
judgment that you place on a certain behavior or you put it on a child. And specifically when it comes to teaching. So when you're a teacher, you want to avoid value judgment assessments. So you look at a kid and you don't say, oh, that was a good test. You said you added 2 + 2 correctly, and here's how you did it. So it's a very specific kind of way to give praise. Okay. That being said, let's talk about this term unruly.
Yes.
How are you going to decide what's unruly or not? What is the standard? Because us as a society has very different standards of unruly. Some people are louder than other people. Some
Right.
people are more quiet than other people. Some kids like to walk around. There are some restaurants where a kid can get up, walk around. It's totally fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who is going to make that judgment? And then it's obviously going to be weaponized and be utilized in a racist way. We know it's going to be true. Is a boy going to be unruly in the same way that a little girl is going to be
Yeah.
unruly?
Oh,
It's
you
gonna
mean like gendered, yeah.
It's going to be gendered. It's going to be racist.
Absolutely.
And so,
Yeah, apparently this is Tim Richter, who is the owner of
He sounds like a fucking sphincter.
Toccoa Riverside Restaurant. And he was adding charges to people's bill. He's the owner, and he's been adding charges to people's bill. It says, according to the owner, the kids were too loud. These kids have been running around outside, albeit with their parents nearby, which warranted them up charges. So I think
Are people getting a warning
do yourself
for
a
this?
favor and go somewhere else is what Reddit users are saying, because people are obviously citing that this restaurant is not family friendly and things like that. And so Tim Richter is basically just saying, like, if you don't know how to, if your kid is poorly behaved, air quote, your a surcharge will be added to your bill. Now, what he's probably trying to do is just deter families from coming at all, because obviously if I caught wind that some restaurant could potentially charge me a $50 surcharge, I'm just not going to go. So maybe he's trying to bring the hammer down for that reason, or attract people. You remember that one restaurant that was like, well, we're going to discriminate if you are vaccinated. So come over here, unvaccinated only, So maybe what they're trying to do is deter a certain group of people.
No, I think this guy is trying to make it into the newspaper. Honestly.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Like, good for you. And I also think he's trying to make an extra buck and surprise parents who didn't read or were not told.
I'm just gonna look up what's on the menu, I'm gonna see if I would pay the surcharge.
There's a bar near our house that has a Krampus night. It's a German bar. It's really fun. And after a certain point, kids are not allowed in. So like 8 p.m., nobody under 21, right? And so
right.
It's you can just do that. Right? Or you can just make your restaurant nobody under 21 or whatever. But then you're cutting off a whole supply of people. It's
on the menu as well. Adult surcharge for parents unable to parent will be more money. Be respectful to staff, property, and self. No respect, no service, no store food permitted in the dining area. So he has it on the menu. They have
this is so subjective.
They have hamburgers, Caesar salad, Riverside salad, Korean steak, smoked trout pasta, corn nuggets, fries.
So the real question is,
sir, please,
as a parent, right? Like, how do you deter
fried pickle chips?
How do you deter kids coming into your space who are not going to disrupt the service, right? So,
right.
Amber and I one time went to a Michelin star restaurant. It was a really nice restaurant. Do you remember this?
It depends on what you're about to say.
It was very expensive. We were taking out someone who did childcare for us.
I do remember.
And we were celebrating them, and we took Wild there, and she was so fucking unruly.
Correct.
I think this guy
she was old bitty baby. She can't really walk.
She was
or
crying, and I ended up trying to leave, and it was just such a mess. And one table got up and moved to a different spot, and I felt bad. And ever since then, if we go to a nice restaurant, we keep the kid at home.
Yes.
This does not look like a nice restaurant. This guy's just serving burgers and salads.
Smoked catfish plates. Yes.
No,
fried pickles.
I think it's just a bad business.
I'm not speaking up for this man, but it looks like this restaurant is presenting sort of almost like a camp vibe. It's like campfire and tables, and
so it gives the illusion that it's family friendly.
It's a beautiful view of a lake.
Yeah,
it gives the illusion that it's family friendly. But here's the thing, also, Ben, there's a huge lake out near the restaurant, so I could see maybe some signs going up saying make sure your kids do not run by the lake, blah, 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 blah. Because even in the pictures that I see, we'll tag the Toccoa Riverside Restaurant. Not because we want you to go there, but an article or something. So maybe there are certain liabilities or something happening if you have a restaurant that is near a lakefront and you don't want kids. You remember when we went to Hama Hama Oyster in Seattle?
Yeah.
Something like that, potentially. So maybe, and it's a Georgia restaurant.
So it's places where kids could very easily leave their table and go play and have a good time.
Potentially drown, whatever. And go play, go drown. Mommy's got to get some wine. So I think what they're trying to do maybe is just say I'm not having their back. I'm just saying, in some restaurants, of course, we went to that one really great restaurant, and the worst that happened was, some table moved. But
and
in
the
some restaurants,
waitstaff was awesome because they were amazing.
They were great, but in some restaurants, if you're running around near a fountain or a body of water,
someone's gonna say something.
Somebody might say, you might get hurt.
I think this is just a terrible business move. You're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry, Tim Sphincter. This is dumb. You're gonna deter people. People are not gonna want to come.
I know, but some people might come because they're fuck them kids.
Yeah, I don't. This is the U.S. A lot of people have kids.
I know, but you know what else it has been? This is a note that might be a little bit important. This is a Georgia restaurant. And Georgia is obviously notorious for like good old air quote Southern values.
Yeah.
Spare the rod, spoil the child kind of energy. You know, what is it? Do unto
Slave
your
the blacks.
father if they have them do
Sorry,
unto.
yeah.
Yes, all of that stuff. What's the quotes in the Bible about like honor thy father and mother energy?
Yeah.
So I think like
Rebellion is witchcraft is a phrase as well.
I just think that this old school, like, obviously, like, white Georgia restaurant owner is like, you know, y'all don't know how to discipline your kids. I'll do it myself. Like, that's all of the energy I hear coming off of this, which may serve or may attract the people in his neck of the woods.
It's his business,
sadly.
so he can do whatever he wants.
Right. My
And-
question to you is, like, as a parent of a toddler who is constantly running around, I'm not signing with Tim Sphincter, but what onus is it on us to make sure itty bitty is not like booking it around a really nice restaurant?
Research the restaurant. That's
Right.
my thing. It's like you
'Cause
have to.
family
If you're
friendly
gonna
is a
take,
thing. Yeah. I'm not blaming the kids. Like, let kids be kids, sure. But I definitely learned, I think we learned our lesson one time when I was like, we can't even really enjoy like this
Oh,
very
it was
expensive
so
meal out because she
frustrating.
is crying the whole time. And of course, we were respectful. We took her outside and sometimes like, hey, it's 8 p.m. She needs to be in the bed.
Yeah, that was
we can
a
get a
mistake.
sitter.
It was
right.
wrong
It
for
was a
us to
mistake
do
on our
this.
part. Do I think the restaurant should be charging motherfuckers?
No.
Hell no. There's plenty of family friendly restaurants, but it was just a very interesting business move, and it
I
made
think
me
it was
think
a
about
stupid
do
business
you
move.
potentially think other restaurants will catch wind? Because
Restaurants are dying. People do not have enough money to go. So if you're cutting off a whole segment of the population, which is like people with kids,
you're not cutting them off. You're just charging $50.
I mean, that could be like the thing is like this could backfire where you just go and you let your kid run amok and expect to get that $50.
Right.
You're like, all right, just I don't care.
I'm gonna pay the 50, but my child can stand on every table in this motherfucker.
exactly.
Like it could
Ooh,
it could literally do
that's
that.
Good. It could backfire.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I think this is just a really good for him. We're talking about him. This guy has
he
probably
probably
had this man has never had this much
He
attention.
said, "We
in
got
his
to sell
fucking
this
life.
catfish. We need a
Yeah.
scandal."
I
Right.
think that was a smart business. Good for you, Sphincter.
Anyway, I mean, I don't know.
I don't want this guy to take up any more of my time.
Got you.
I feel so deceived. Actually, I think the idea is so good. I wish I thought of it.
That's what I was like. It's
This
probably a pretty good
Just
idea.
a good PR move. Sort of a dick move, but a great PR move.
But it's the same thing as like, I'm sure there was some outrage when somebody made a rule about like, hey, let's go ahead and add gratuity to these group parties. And probably one restaurant probably did something like that. And the other restaurants were like, yeah, like people are not tipping well. Like, let's just all do it.
Well, now there's a movement to get away from tipping. You remember in
I remember, 'cause
Andersonville,
even
all the
you and-
restaurants were like, we don't want to tip anymore. I think tipping it's just
Well, tell them why, Ben. Like, can you explain like why this restaurant decided to sort of like they're doing something new with tipping? It's not like no tipping at all.
There is a good reason for why this is happening. So essentially, what the restaurant decided to do was raise everybody's wages at this restaurant, and then what was happening is that people. It came down to the restaurateurs were chefs, and they had the experience where they would be making this incredible food and never getting tips.
Right.
That's fucked up. Why do we tip the person bringing the food and not the person who is making it and putting all the sweat? And this restaurant is a great restaurant, makes incredible Southern food. And so they were chefs, and coming from that experience, they started their own restaurant, and it was Big Jones, right? Mm-hmm. And they wanted.
It's good.
It's good.
It's as good as Southern food as you'll get
in Chicago,
in the Midwest, right?
I think it's there are some exceptionally good things at Big Jones. They wanted to make sure that everyone was getting paid equitably and not creating this disparity, because they, as chefs, the interviews I read, would oftentimes get bitter because these waiters and waitresses were getting all this extra money and then oftentimes not helping cleaning up. Chefs have to clean their stations afterwards. Mm-hmm. Chefs are working in the back with heat, getting burns on their arms.
Yeah, but chefs get paid more than waiters, though.
No,
they typically do.
No, not once you look at the tips. So once you look at the tips, once you include the tips, all of
Okay.
a sudden you're talking about at some point they're making 50% more.
I know, but I don't want to just dismiss what waiters do. Like there is a like I have a very clear as a patron hierarchy of how my tips go based on how the waiter performs. Like there is an art to that. Like, oh my God, there was this one guy in Vegas. He was such a good waiter because you know me, I always start at like a 25% in my head. And then I say to myself, like, okay, if I have to ask where are the waters, we're down to 20. If I have to be like,
you
hey,
do that? I didn't know.
Oh,
that.
in my head for sure.
Wait, what? I didn't know this.
Oh, are you kidding? Well, because
you
know,
deduct points. Have you ever? I've never seen you tip below.
I do it in. I tip 20% typically, but in my brain.
Have you tipped 15 or like 10% with terrible service?
I've probably tipped 15 to 10 if the
it's bad.
If I had to like ask about my food, if something didn't get fired, if half the table got the food, half the table didn't, if I've already asked for a drink refill, I've already asked for water refills.
Dang.
Like, hey, where are you? Hey, we've been trying to leave for the past hour. We just want the bill. Yeah, that's like a 10 or 15% for me. But honestly, like for me personally, like you start with 20-25% off rip. But if you doing the shit like, oh, Ted, I will not forget you, Ted, at I'll remember the restaurant we went to. I'm talking, ladies, where we going tonight? We're looking really great. We're going to Usher. Okay, you gotta remember halfway through the concert, he's gonna do this thing with this water bottle. You're gonna love it. Anyway, what can I get you? Let me tell you about some specials. We got white truffle in season. In my mind, I'm like, oh, yeah. You're commenting on the outfits. You're investing in where we're going tonight. You already know the specials off the bat. All right, ladies, I'll be right back.
How come you don't tip me when I give you compliments? You literally just tip people.
Your whole goddamn life is one big tip. Are you kidding me? What you talking about?
I'm looking for a 20% raise.
Oh, what? What do you need more funds for?
For more fun, obviously. For more,
okay, well,
books.
how do you base your tipping? Because you know them waters are big.
I base my tipping based on like this system. We live in a system where people do not get a livable wage. So when I just give 20% almost always.
If it's good service, if it's bad service.
Yeah.
What about if it's like pickup versus delivery versus
Yeah, I do
20
pick up
off all
just
the time.
I always give 20%.
Even if the service me about the menu. So we order this pitcher of margaritas. She brings it to the table. We all drink it, and it tastes like just pineapple juice. You know, like there's no alcohol in it really. So it gave the appearance. I was like, oh, this pitcher of margaritas has just been back there sitting clearly because it just tastes like diluted ice, whatever. We tell the waitress, you know, she's taking forever, and I got eyes on her. She's not really doing anything. I'm like, hey, can you come back over? And I was like, hey, you know, honestly, we tasted this pitcher of margaritas, and it just tastes like no alcohol. Like, we'd rather not do the pitcher and just order individually. She's like, yeah, we get that note all the time. Like, I tell people,
What?
I was like, okay, my good sis. When we ordered it, why? I was like, why would you let me know that you did? She's like, yeah, we've told our manager several times. It's so watered down. It's the worst, isn't it? Let me get y'all ladies something else. And I'm like, blink, blink.
Lead with that.
Lead with that, sis. I love when a waiter's like, this is good. I wouldn't go for the chicken. In my opinion, it's a little dry. But, you know, I love that.
There's a Korean barbecue place we go to, and they're just so rude. They're just
they're rude. Oh.
They're like you're
they
good.
handle me.
This is it. Boom.
They handle
You don't
me.
have to do anything else.
Oh, that waiter. One time at this Korean barbecue spot, a waiter snatched a menu out my hand because they were like, that's enough. And I was like, oh, okay.
And it was.
And
it was more
enough.
than enough.
It was enough. But I hate when I go
like take some initiative. It's this weird line.
Right. I'm not trying to be a diva, but I love when a waiter says like, hey, the tomatoes are in season.
You just
so this is the best.
You like when people tell you what to do. Like take control, you know.
Don't have me order a pitcher of margaritas. It gets sent back, and you go like, honestly, it gets sent back all the time. I'm like, huh?
You know what's so funny? This really comes out because there are times where Amber gives this appearance that she loves to be the dominant one, to be in control.
I don't give that appearance. Just kidding.
No, yeah, but there are times where I take the initiative. I sort of yank her, jerk her.
Oh,
a little here, and
I
you're
love
like,
when you order. I
"Ugh."
love when you order for me. You know,
Yeah.
I hate going to a restaurant looking at the menu. I'm like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
order it. You know what I like.
Amber likes to be taken control of a little bit.
I do. So I hate when I order a picture of margaritas and then I send it back and then you say, actually, we get this sent back all the time. I'm like, you can understand why that would be annoying.
I do.
I'm not that
understand.
much of a diva. You can
No.
understand where I'm like, say something, queen.
Fair.
Fair.
Moving on.
Are we going to Toccoa Riverside Restaurant or not?
I'm good. Pass.
If we do go and we get that surcharge, wow, better tear that place limb from limb.
He's not a Michelin star. He's not
I'm
like
kidding.
a fan. He's
Yeah,
not
I'm
like
kidding.
renowned. No
right.
James
Keith
Beard.
Lee will find him. All right, you ready? Letter number 1. We are officially segueing into the I do's and don'ts of relationships. We've got 2 letters here. If you would like a letter ever answered, please DM the Fly on the Wallin Instagram. Sometimes I ask and source them on the Bariam Instagram as well, but I need to do a better job of keeping everything separate. So please send those messages to Fly on the Wallin Instagram. Here we go. Dear Fly on the Wallin, how do I professionally tell my boss to keep work life and home life separate? My boss tells me things about his marriage. For example, my wife and I sleep in different rooms. My wife tried to foreclose our house just so she could open her own business. Or he tells me about things about his family. My father just passed away and now my brother's wife is trying to take all our money. He will sigh louder and louder just for someone to ask him what's wrong. He is in his damn 50s. Why are you such a whore for attention still? Also, I know this. Him and his wife have a gym together, but their personal life is interrupting their business. Why do I know this? Please help.
He wants to have relations
Oh,
with
yeah.
you.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if he's a business owner and your boss, hey, get your honey money.
No, but he's, I mean,
Get
I
your
would
money,
definitely
honey.
date somebody in their 50s. Like,
Yeah.
But he would be a petty patty complaining at work about me every day, sighing loudly.
Well, no, if you get with him, you don't have to work anymore. I think this is an opportunity.
you got to work with him.
No, you quit your job and he becomes your sugar daddy.
You think that? Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
So this person obviously has a crush on you. He owns a gym, so he's a business owner, and he's unhappy in his relationship.
Right.
This is like a ripe cherry.
This
is a
a
cherry.
rom-com. It's giving rom-com vibes.
Maybe not a rom-com, but definitely a what other genre is there? Like a
Why?
what's that? That's why. No, it's not young adult.
I don't know.
This is yet-
Sci-fi, fantasy.
No.
Horror,
It's like
horror.
it could be horror. It could be one of those. No, this is giving Tyler Perry. That's
Oh,
it.
Tyler Perry has his own.
Tyler Perry is his own genre.
The Tyler Perry cinematic universe. Okay,
Yes.
it is giving Medea energy.
This is giving
Yeah.
like Tyler Perry, where this man's unhappy. Yeah, you should definitely tap that or let him tap it. I don't know. Well, whatever you prefer,
Oh my gosh.
or quit your job.
No, but he's an annoying little baby bitch, sighing every day at work, being like, I mean, you know that person
Yes, I
that like
do.
you're literally checking out your groceries at your local grocer, and they're like, and then Brian passed away. You're like, taking out your AirPod, like, excuse me, and they're like, yeah, my stepfather, he recently just passed. It was stage 4, and I'm like, okay, let me stop Fly on the Wildin' podcast and see what's going on here. You know, sometimes people just need somebody to talk to. But when it's your boss, like, how do you? There's a power dynamic there. So how do you responsibly ask your boss, like, respectfully?
I wonder if there's
can't.
an HR thing you could go to. Like maybe report him in all seriousness. Maybe report him to HR because that is deeply, deeply inappropriate, and get a severance.
It
because
sounds like it's more annoying than inappropriate.
it's inappropriate.
You know
this
what?
is an HR issue. And also, here's the thing. People don't recognize, go to HR, and if you can get a severance, you won't have to work for a couple months. I'm serious. Like, take note. Like, go to a therapist. Like, exaggerate a little bit.
You ain't got no HR with me, huh? Oh, are you?
I just
are y'all
realized I don't have
unionizing?
HR. I guess your mom's my HR. Your mother is my HR. When I go to her, she usually has my back most of the times.
Yeah, she does. She does.
And she can sort of, set you right, except, you've been not you've been harder to set right lately.
Oh yeah, I'm getting
with your
real.
mom.
I'm feeling myself. I'm
you're
Mom,
like,
stop.
You're like setting some more boundaries, which is healthy for you, not good for me.
Let me say this though. I just know that the person that I am, if my boss was constantly complaining to me about their personal life, I would log all of this information.
Yeah, keep
and
track
then
of it.
not even for HR, just for my own petty personal reasons. Because the one day that I request PTO, for example, and then they say, no, you can't, I would be like, okay, well, there were a couple of days that I would like to ask for additional pay for time and a half because I spent 30 minutes listening to you and your wife's issue at lunch. So can I get those 30 minutes? Like, you know,
Yeah.
I would find some sort of way to be like,
You have a level of
I'd be like, well, you know,
exacting
I'm dealing with
revenge.
some housing issues. You know about foreclosures, John. Like, I would definitely be like, let me file all of this information to keep.
Oh, wait, there are houses foreclosing?
It says on here, my wife tried to foreclose our home so she can open a business. That's what he said about his wife.
I don't think he's super
I would also
wealthy
be
then.
worried. Maybe also he's trying to tell you, like, just so you know, the business will probably go under soon. Like, I don't know. Okay, my computer battery is dying, so can I go ahead and read the second letter?
Yes. God, Amber.
Dear, I know I should have.
Be
I was
prepared.
watching the goddamn challenge that ate all my battery before the show.
Amber has literally been watching 10 hours. Okay, just go
No,
for
it's a good what, like when I'm doing meaningless tests. You know, I got to get ready for Sparta. Okay, dear Fly on the Wildin', I'm 21. I met my boyfriend a year ago. We've been together 7 months. So we met a year ago. Been together 7 months. He's always been an air quote jokester. Keep in mind that my humor is just not the same as his. Relatable. I laugh at his goofy and silly things, whereas his humor is just calling me names or saying something mean and then calling it a joke. One time he jokingly called me the R word that means like slow, air quote, which he always calls me dumb or stupid to play around, but I never like those terms specifically for that obvious reason. After he called me that, I shared that I don't appreciate that term, even if it was a joke. And then he calls me sensitive or soft. This is my first real relationship. And he literally jokes about everything. Should I learn to cope with his jokes? Some days I just feel like I want to have a conversation without joking and confusion. Please help.
Yeah, he doesn't respect your boundaries. It might be time for you to move on to a second serious relationship. Or be like, yo, like, here's the thing, like these are just red flags. And when people don't respect boundaries on the little things, they're not going to respect boundaries on the larger things.
Sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Nip that shit in the bud early and often. I just think we have to, comedy is so subjective.
Yeah.
Am I using the right one? Comedy is so subjective, right? And sometimes it's hard to gauge, okay, like this is funny to me, but like what makes it comedy? Does it being funny to someone else, does that make it comedy? Can something still be comedy if it's funny to me and not funny to you or whatever? But in this dynamic, it's like, okay, your only audience for this joke, me, your girlfriend, is not laughing. So we can't just dismiss this as a joke. It's not funny. It's not cute. Like,
and it hurts. It's
and
hurtful.
It hurts.
So
it's not funny.
If
You're not a
I've
fucking
definitely
comedian.
made jokes about Amber, and she's like, that sort of hurt me. Like one time, and I apologize. Like you did your makeup for the first time, and I made
I've been
fun
really
of you.
working on my makeup.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, clown. Like I basically called her a clown, and it really hurt her feelings. It actually
Right.
made you cry, I think.
Right. I was like, I've been working so
And
hard.
I was like,
it wasn't
I'm
a side.
so-
It wasn't a full
I-
course. I was like, damn,
I
I've
was,
really
like,
been trying hard
joking.
to find the right setting powder for this shit.
It was awful, and I felt it was like, oh, I don't want to do this, and I saw that it distressed Amber, and I was like, it wasn't because she was sensitive. I mean,
Yeah, because
yes,
any other day, I
no,
love being
she-
called a clown. That's the funny part.
The thing is, she is sensitive, and sensitive is okay.
Mhm.
You know, there's a great song, I'm sensitive and I'd like to stay that way. It's like, please be careful with me because I'm sensitive and I'd like to stay that way. I love that song. That song
It's
is so
giving
beautiful.
you made it up, but I'll look it up after.
No, it's a real song.
Mhm.
And I think it's important. Like being sensitive is fine. Being sensitive means that you're aware of the world around
I'm
us.
such a softie. I'm such a big crybaby.
Right. And I just was unthinking, and I don't know why in the moment I thought that was funny. I think
Well, here's the thing about it, Ben. We joke all the time.
do.
So different jokes hit on a different day. If we
Yeah.
have been fighting all day, maybe a 4 p.m. joke isn't that girl. Like, because sometimes you'll say that to me. You're like, dang, that joke really would have killed yesterday. I was like, but yesterday we was on good terms. We ain't on good terms today. That's how comedy works. So comedy works like that. Like if you have somebody poorly open your show, like, and because the point of somebody opening the show is like to warm up the crowd, to get things going. And if somebody bombs that, it affects the next thing coming. Like that's just how you've made the room feel. So like how you treat the audience and the audience's trust in you is all helpful in order to get the joke to land. Like comedy is very like formulaic and like chemical in that way. So if you've been mean to me all day, mean, your joke probably ain't gonna land. And I'm sure at that point we were probably frustrated with each other. Now, now one time you made fun of my blush or something because I think I put my blush like right under my eye, and then you said something like, "People gonna think you got a black eye with your blush looking like that," and it was hilarious. You didn't say it like how I just said it, but it was hilarious because we were laughing, joking, getting
we were
along
having a
that
good time.
day. And then I probably clapped back at you.
I think this situation is objectively unfunny.
Right.
Because this person's just calling you dumb, stupid, and
Yeah,
in this
he sounds
case,
like an idiot. Like, you're my girlfriend's stupid. It's like, what? Where's the punchline?
But here's the thing: if you created a boundary and he's not respecting it,
Right. Period.
Because you're just saying like, hey, I don't want to be called this, and if he wants to keep calling you that, like that's fine. He can keep calling you. But your boundary is that you don't want to hear it. And so if you don't create any consequence for that boundary, which is simply separating yourself from this person or being like, hey, I'm not going to talk to you when you say this to me leave the room.
At all.
And leave the room. Like be like, hey, I don't appreciate when you use I did this with Amber. Amber was using terms like you always, you never. Last night, I was like, I'm not going to talk to you when you use these completionist terms.
Right.
Right.
We talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Too,
and
I think I slipped back into it on accident last night.
Yeah. Last night, I think you were frustrated. You were tired. But I was like, we're not having a conversation about this anymore. And I like closed my computer and I like put it away. And I was about to go downstairs and just separate myself from you because I was like, I'm not doing that. And you are free to talk as much as you want. But I am also free not to hear what you have to say when you continue like to disrespect what I believe is like, hey, when you all I'm hearing is always and never, and that's objectively untrue, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's objectively true that when this person says I calls you dumb, stupid, that makes you feel a certain kind of way. It makes you maybe even feel dumb and stupid, right? Or even that term, the R word that this person used, it's completely disrespectful of an entire group of people. And so at that point, I
don't like it.
You have to give this person consequences.
I acted right after that. And so did you, because
you
you were being mean too.
I was, yeah. I set up a boundary and I was like, hey, I'm no longer doing this. And you took a moment and then we came back together and we reconciled. Right. And
Tell them that part too.
We reconciled. We reconciled, and I was like, "Hey, you've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of work. Mm-hmm. We're tired.
Right.
Let's take a break and just celebrate the work that we've done together."
Absolutely.
And so it sounds like this person never wants to have a reconciliation. Calling you sensitive, you can't be with someone who can't understand sensitivity because this person's
also like, okay, I just hate. I am a sensitive person. I hate being called sensitive when I just am calling you out on your shit. Hey, your joke isn't funny. You're just sensitive. It's like, there's another world where your joke isn't funny because you're not a comedian. You know? And I think sometimes, like, I feel like growing up, I was called sensitive so much when in reality, I was just setting a boundary.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
I'd be like, hey, I don't really like if you like rub my shoulder that way. Here we go with the sensitivity. It's like,
it's my body.
What sensitivity? It's my body. I don't like when you greet me with a arm punch. Just saying, I don't like the shit.
So sensitive.
It's yeah. And then it's just always chopped up to like, well, you know how she is sensitive. I'm like,
because you know what that does? That deflects the responsibility.
Right.
It's like I don't have to take responsible for my actions because this person is just sensitive.
Yes,
And
it's
disgusting.
dismissive. Yeah,
It's-
yeah. Oh, I
Well-
was called sensitive about everything. I'm like, hey, I don't really like getting feedback this way. Well,
I think
I gotta
it's-
watch how I say things because you know how sensitive you are. I'm like,
It's not
or
even
you could just
dismissive.
Not say it.
It's saying like, oh, I have to watch. You're not really taking response. It's a way of avoiding and shirking responsibility. That's what it comes
Right.
down to. And you're like, okay.
So yeah, you do have to think a little bit harder when it comes to tailoring feedback to me. And in fact, everybody actually motherfucking feels this way. I'm just the only one with the balls to tell you, with the titties to tell you that shit is annoying. Like that's typically like whenever I've been dismissed as sensitive because I was like standing up for myself, it's literally because like everybody else in the family was like, thank you for saying that because that shit annoys me too. I'm like, y'all need to say something too because it's going to be just dismissed as like she's sensitive if I'm the only one that said something about it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I might be sensitive, but I'm also brave because everybody fucking hates you. I just told you to your face. Everybody hates you. Everybody. I'm just kidding, not you. And I can be sensitive sometimes too. That's fair.
But that's not a bad.
It's
That's
not a
what
bad
I'm
thing.
trying to say is that it's fine because you might have more boundaries than other people. There might be more things that annoy you, and that's fine.
Yeah.
In that case,
It's just
don't
like, you know
don't
how
tear
Amber
down
is.
the other.
I'm like,
if someone
goat?
says something, if someone says something. Sorry, what did you say? I was trying to speak and I didn't hear what did you say?
I just hate when people are like, well, you know how Amber is.
Yeah.
It's just like, excellence?
No.
I do need you to do this extra step because that is how I am. I'm sorry for speaking over you.
No, I mean that's fine. It's not like you're even asking people to do an extra step. You're just mostly saying like, hey, I don't want you to say this thing or talk to me this way.
Right.
And then I think an area of growth for you, and sounds like this person, is that if someone breaks, what will happen, I see, is that you will say something to me, Ben, I don't like when you curse in front of Wild or something,
Yes.
right? Like that is a boundary that you've set. And so when I violate that,
I can't even set that boundary unless I like stop you from seeing her.
yeah, so that's a bad example. Well, no, I'll stick with that example. So
What about the Google Calendar stuff? That's the stuff. Like
No,
when you go rogue and don't do the calendar.
I'll do swearing first. Swearing first is easy. Like you set a boundary. I don't want our child growing up with that. If I'm not able to do with that, what you will sometimes do is that you'll just get angry and upset instead of working like, hey, this is really important to me. Let's try to problem solve how we cannot swear in front of Wild. Okay, maybe we don't swear on our podcast. So trying to problem solve where I think sometimes with you, you're like, I said not to do this and they crossed my boundary. And now you get so frustrated and so upset that you're not able to move forward in the problem solving or the consequences or even, I think problem solving in this case. Calendar's another one. You're like, okay, that's not really a boundary. It's just like you have standards with
Right.
organization. And if I don't meet those standards, you get really frustrated and angry.
Right.
But
But
it's not
I
like
hate-
a personal boundary. It's a professional expectation that
Right.
if it's not met, you don't know how to. I think sometimes you struggle with helping people get to their expectations.
I do.
You oftentimes just set them and then not give people the support. Sometimes.
Sure. I own that.
When you're the boss, yeah. And there's a lot on you to giving me support on certain things. But there's a lot of me and I try to support you too.
Yeah, I just think I don't like it. It's not even sugarcoating. I hate that if you make a mistake, we have to share the blame. If you're the only one cussing incessantly in our home, I hate, can we find a way for both of us to stop using these words? I'm like, no, you're the only one using these words in front of our child. I don't like that you use
that's
these
what
words.
it means to be in a relationship, right?
I know, but it ain't even we. It feels like teacher student dynamic.
No,
it feels
it's-
infantilizing to say like,
I'm gonna
hey,
help.
this
I'm gonna
thing
help
that
you reach
you
this
do,
goal.
Can we both stop doing that?
No. It's not we. It's that I need to stop doing it. Maybe I'm not capable of doing it on my own, so I need support. And you're the person that I need
Okay,
for
I'm asking
support.
you right here on the show. How can I best support you in not cussing as much?
I think
Is
maybe
it a swear jar? What do we need to do?
I think one. Maybe
You
we
need to
both
earn, like,
we both
tokens?
commit not to swearing. I think for me, Amber's really good at knowing when to do things and knowing when not to do.
Yes.
So Amber,
Ben can't do that. I know I can say fuck, bitch shit on the
yeah.
podcast, and then when I go home, I don't do that. But Ben
That's
is like,
also objectively untrue. You definitely swear in front of Wild as well.
if I do, I whisper it. I'm cognizant that she's in the room. I'm like, because these like, I do that. You don't even do it. You're like, nope.
Maybe
I do that. I'm aware when I'm cussing in front but you don't censor yourself in front of kids, your mama. You just be going crazy.
it's hard. Yeah, I struggle with censoring.
Okay, so how can I best support you? That's what we need to get to.
Yeah, we'll work on that. That is we're talking about another
No, right now.
3-hour conversation.
What do you need? Like, because I ain't got all day to
I
make
know.
charts.
I'll figure something out. Maybe I don't know. Maybe a good slap in the face every time I swear. I respond really well to physical punishment.
Got you.
Just beat the shit
At one
out of
point,
me
I
every
was
time I
pinching
swear.
you like a baby, and you
Oh,
hated it, or I was thumping you. And you know, with these nails, it was a swift thump too.
Can I thump you every time you swear?
Sure,
Hell yeah.
you gonna get beat just like you got beat with the plank. I would love for you to thump me every time I swore. You wouldn't even remember to do it. But
Okay, so here's the thing that I try to help you with because people are going to leave this episode. Ben is a terrible person.
No.
You struggle with not allowing things to bother you. Like
Yes.
something will happen, and so I try to support you in not giving a fuck. DGAF.
No, you try to support me by avoiding that it even happened and trying to act like nothing happened.
No. What I say is that now is not the time. Let's set a time to do this. Where something very frustrating might happen right before we need to do something, or you need to go and do something else, and I'll be like, hey, like, don't worry about this just yet. Let's move on to the next thing.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I try to talk you and amp you up to doing that. So
okay, that could work. But what I need you to do is to acknowledge, like, you are upset because I just did this thing. I can totally understand why that would upset you. However, we can't really deal with that issue right now. What you try to do is say, like, why are you upset? Just chill, just relax. Nothing happened. You're fine. That's what you do. You try to act like nothing happened and
Yeah,
then go
that's
on to the
not
next
good.
thing. Right.
I'm getting better at trying not to
Yes.
do that.
So later you
I think-
totally acknowledge it.
I think
But in the
breathing and
moment-
saying someone to relax is different than you're
Oh.
fine. But you don't like relaxing.
I don't like to be told relax, you're fine, it's not a big deal. Anything in that wheelhouse. I like, okay, for example, you know, we're this is our show. So let's talk about everything that's going on in the house right now. These are not huge issues. These are just examples. Whenever I have Wild, we only have a couple of bottles. We have 3 bottles because we have lost so many. So we're down to the last 3 of the draft. And whenever I have Wild, if let's say I take her out, do something with her, all of her bottles make it back to our kitchen sink. When Ben has Wild, they might come back, they might not.
One of
So I
those
love
things are in
you,
space. They're
but
like
you
floating
have
into
lo-
space
But you
right
have
now.
lost several bottles of hers, which has prompted to us to have to rebuy bottles. So I was in Vegas for 3 days. I came back. Mind you, we only had 3 bottles left. We were down to our last 3.
I think it was 2, but yeah.
We were down to our last 3. I came back from Vegas. 2 of the parts of these bottles,
I don't know how that-
parts of the 2
I don't know how
are
that
gone.
happened.
So now we're down to 1 bottle this week. And then this morning, I couldn't even find the 1 bottle because you had taken her out yesterday. So what happened was
I struggle with putting things back.
I woke up and I said, Ben, you took Wild out yesterday. Where's the 1 bottle that we had left? Because you lost 2 while I was in Vegas. Where's the 1 bottle that we had left? Because I'm trying to just give my baby some milk. Amber, I don't know. I'm like, okay, you need to stop whatever the fuck it is that you're doing right now and find the one bottle. And then you found it, and I was like, can you acknowledge why this would frustrate me? You were like, Amber, I found it. What's the big deal? No. And that's what frustrates me. I'm like, you need to say, you know what? I love you.
I think I did say I understand.
But I had to make you repeat after me like I'm a child. So because
I'm not giving excuses. For me,
I bought some. To be fair, I bought 2 bottles yesterday on Amazon, so we got 2 en route. But
yeah, like why do I do that?
But when that happens, I'm kind of
Why
like,
do people do
he
that?
is gaslighting me right now.
I think it's a mixture of I'm embarrassed.
You're embarrassed.
I think
I
I'm
know it,
embarrassed, and I'm like, ugh, like, and you're asking me to repeat like a child, so I
That's
feel
because you
sort
won't
of.
do it. I'm like, Ben.
You're like, well, I
let's
might
do
be
a play-by-play
embarrassed.
this
I'm
morning. I was like, Ben,
frantic. I'm
we
anxiety.
found this bottle. Can you acknowledge why this would frustrate me?
Like that tone of voice is just so irksome. I don't know.
Sure,
it's embarrassing.
But what would you have me say? Because that is the when people acknowledge what they did wrong to me, or when I acknowledge what I did wrong to someone else, I am less likely to make that mistake again. So what happens with you is sometimes you don't acknowledge it, and the same mistakes keep happening. So I'm trying to get you to say, I fucked up. I need to do a better job with these bottles. That way, when it happens in a week or two, I could be like, remember last week? We had the same conversation.
Yeah. So I think that the reason I don't acknowledge my mistakes, and I think a lot of people, I think especially men, is that, no, women do this. It has to do with ego. There's an element of ego.
Mm-hmm.
I think oftentimes my immediate default is that I might be hearing like all the mistakes I'm making, but in my head, I'm like, why am I not being appreciated for all the amazing things I've done?
You immediately this morning jumped to like, I took her out all day yesterday and I did that for you. And I'm like, that does not negate the fact that my bottles keep disappearing from this house.
So it's a mixture of like the moment when I don't admit a mistake, it's from a place of like embarrassment and then from a place of not feeling appreciative, right? And so as soon as I admit that mistake, I've admitted that I'm less than, or I've admitted that I'm a bad parent, or there's something like wrong, like inside of me, where I don't think you're thinking that. But in my mind, that's sort of what I'm taking. So
in my mind, I'm thinking you were trying to convince me that you didn't do this thing.
Though. We do this a lot where I I was really not mad about this, but Amber, I have a whole structure of putting Wild to bed.
Oh, God.
And I said, Amber takes her up to bed.
And she was rubbing her eyes, so I put her in the bed.
I put her in the bed without like giving her.
Didn't do the bath.
Didn't do the bath without.
Didn't do the story read. And I read to her earlier that day, so I was like, oh, I read some books earlier. She's rubbing her eyes now. Let me put her down.
So, and then I was like, hey, Amber. So I went up there, I brushed her teeth, and then I read a book. And then I put her down, and within like, I think 10, maybe less than 5 minutes, she's like knocked out.
Right.
And I come downstairs. I think you had done a whole lot of work. I was like,
a lot of work.
I was like, hey, Amber, like, I know I was not mad. And I think my tone was like this. And I think I was trying so hard because I knew Amber was going to feel that she was a bad parent. And I was trying so hard not to be bad. I'm like, I'm not mad. And I think I was too chill. That's the thing.
No, you weren't. You were like, we have to stick to her bedtime routine. I'm like, write the damn routine down.
That's what she heard. But what I said
was the routine?
Like, I was like, yeah, it's like, hey, Amber, we really have to stick to her bedtime routine when I do that. And you're watching the challenge. I don't think you're really paying attention to me.
I'm trying to see if CT is going into.
And then you're like, and then immediately you're like,
into the gauntlet tonight.
You're like, immediately you said, as soon as I said that, like, well, I did all these things. And you started listing all the things you did. I'm like, you're a great parent. I'm really not mad. Like, I will go upstairs. I'm going to go upstairs and read a book. And then you're like, now you're just trying to make me feel guilty. I'm like, literally, like, I just want to go upstairs and read a book, but I want moving forward to make sure that we stick. You're like, write the routine down. I was like,
write the routine down because I like a checklist. I do.
3 things. I'll put it in a calendar. But I remember you doing a very similar thing, and I knew that if I brought this up, I needed to bring it up to you, right? I could have let it slid, but you wouldn't have let it slid.
No,
absolutely not.
Oh yeah, you getting your ass up and going back upstairs and putting her in the bath.
So I knew that you were tired, so I took that responsibility, and then I came down and then I said, hey, moving forward, these are the things you need to do. Because mostly that is my job, but I think I was with her that entire day.
Right.
And so you wanted to do something.
And I had something to do after I put her down, too.
Oh, yeah. And I had also cooked, so you had to clean up the kitchen. And so you were also saying...
I had to put her down quick so I could clean up the cheese sauce.
Yeah, you started justifying all the reasons you didn't do it. I'm like, I understand. that's okay.
Right.
Just next time, don't say you're gonna put her down. Like, I can handle that. And then that even got you.
I really Amelia Bedelia the situation and put her right down. And you were like, no, you gotta do the bubbles. I was like,
But this is the thing, because you said the reason that you got defensive stemmed from this insecurity that you thought that you were a bad parent, and that wasn't what I
Not
was
bad,
saying.
but just like not doing enough. Yeah.
Not doing enough, and you felt guilty. And so when we get defensive, it's not because we actually think we're in the wrong. It's because we know we're in the right. And I think that's a big unlock. Like when people start not accepting that they're wrong, it's probably because they know that they're wrong.
When people start not accepting.
Like I knew I was so wrong for not putting the bottle back that
Right.
I started defending the fact that I was not wrong, and like the falsehood that I was not wrong.
I was like, this man is crazy because, well, he knows she needs this to drink.
People get defensive when they fucked up.
Yeah.
And they know they fucked up.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what? I think both you and I are getting better about if a little bit of time goes by, acknowledging the wrongdoing. You know? Because that's what I need.
Catching it earlier.
I don't either catching it earlier or later. I don't even mind if 24 hours later you come and say like, yeah, me not putting her bottles back is inconveniencing you. You're my teammate. You're my partner. And if I pass the baton to you, you can't do your job to get her ready. That you typically at least have like a 24-hour window of saying that. I just want that window to be like, yeah, I'm tripping. Like, here's a bottle. And I need a better window of like, you know what? I did not put her down the way. I will do all the dishes. Because I was like, I gotta go put her down to do all the
I'm not
dishes.
doing that. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Okay,
I'm
then
joking.
put her down then.
I'm joking. Yeah, I'm joking.
Anyway, I love you. Last thing, Shelfie. What are you reading right now?
I'm reading a book. It's a great book. It's called How to Sell a Haunted House.
Oh, yes.
And
Is our home haunted?
I don't think so. And I don't believe in haunted houses. I would highly recommend this book. It is very about two siblings, very petty. Honestly, reading this book makes me not want to have another kid because the two siblings are constantly at each other's throats.
That's how siblings do.
Yeah, I don't want.
And you had 3 sisters.
I don't want. Oh, here. And also in this, one of the main, I did have 3 sisters and it was exhausting. Still is, obviously. Just kidding. But in this book, one of the parents of the 2 siblings, the 2 main characters in this book, runs a puppet ministry. Did you ever do puppet ministry? You like tell Jesus stories?
Do I look like I did puppet ministry?
I don't know. I don't know if Black Baptist churches
have a puppet ministry.
Yeah.
Not the one at my church.
Okay, so basically you tell like biblical
do a lot
stories.
Of, artistry, but have you ever seen like the miming? Like the liturgical dance with the miming? That's as close to puppetry as we got.
Okay, so this book deals with that, and one of the puppets turns out to be evil.
One of the Baptist puppets?
Yeah.
One of the church puppets?
One of the church puppets.
Did you have puppets at your church?
Oh, yeah. I used to do the puppets, and like you tell a biblical story, like this puppet smoked weed and died and went to hell. Like that's, you would.
Oh, it was like Dare meets puppetry for Christianity.
Yeah, it was very funny. Looking back at it now, it's like, and I saw this puppet show, and then I knew Jesus Christ saved me.
Right. Not
like what the fuck?
Not a puppet show taught me to like.
Oh my
renew
God!
my faith.
Evangelical Christianity, the way they thought that they were doing the Lord's work, to me, looking back at it now, is like not a good business plan.
I don't hate Christ puppets.
I mean, I think it's good.
Maybe
and
the church should
entertaining.
have a surcharge for bad children in the church. That'll get some bills paid, huh?
Yeah, like you have to tip extra.
Yeah, if your child is
or you have to
interrupting the
basically
word.
yeah. Well, that's what children's
they
church is for.
they have children's church.
Yeah. But
I used to love working in the nursery during children's church because then I could just watch VeggieTales, eat goldfish.
Oh, VeggieTales. What a time. VeggieTales.
Hey, bro, they have some good tales out there.
Yeah,
with the veggies.
Some of those stories still hold up, and they're good. They're good, cute little lessons.
Some of them you watch them back, you're like, this is unhinged.
Mhm.
Like, do you remember the peas talking about slavery? I'll show you that one too.
I do remember that
He's like, you
King
get 3
David
square meals a day. What's the matter? He's like, we were enslaved.
enslaved. I do remember that. I
Not
do
3
remember
square meals a
the
day.
story of David and Bathsheba. King David, it was a rubber ducky.
Yes,
They
I do
made
remember
Bathsheba
that.
a rubber ducky.
I remember that one.
Which is exactly how a lot of men see women. They're just rubber duckies that you play with.
Floating ducks. Ducks in the wind. All we are is ducks in the wind. I'm reading Night Crawling by Leila Motley still. I'm almost done. So good. It's so, I know. Well, we batch these episodes, so it really does feel like I've been reading it for like 8 weeks at this point. But it
Jesus,
very
Amber.
I know. I promise I'll be done with it the next episode because I've been reading it on every plane, on every commute, and it is very, very good. I almost have you ever like paced yourself with a book because you're enjoying it so much that you don't want to finish it?
I have done that.
Okay.
All right, sometimes
that's
there
what
are
I'm
a few books
experiencing.
that I didn't read the last page
Oh,
because I
That's kinda
just
beautiful.
always wanted to always be like, I could go back. Like when I'm retired, I'll go back and reread the Foundation series is one. I didn't read the last page of the last book of the Foundation, the original Foundation trilogy by Isaac Asimov.
that's kind of beautiful.
Yeah, I've done that for a couple of books I just didn't want to end. I think like Aristotle and Dante Discover the Universe. I thought that book was so beautiful. They recently turned it into a movie,
Okay.
and I didn't read the last page of that. It's just such a good book. You would love it. It's YA, and
Okay.
it's like a queer story, and
Mhm.
it's just so
I feel like is it a graphic
Beautiful.
novel?
no, it's not.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking about something else then.
Yeah.
Okay. So, How to Sell a Haunted House and Night Crawling. We will add those to your weekly reading list. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Fly on the Wallet and hearing out
Yeah.
all of our marital issues. Truly, we thank you for letting us be vulnerable with you. And please acknowledge things in your relationship, hopefully in less than 24 hours. Got to put those bottles back, man. Got to put those bottles back.
I do.
Anyway, here's your outro music, and we will see y'all next week for the show. Bye, y'all.
You know they're from TikTok, cause those laughs keep you coming, cause they're wildin' all the time. Before wild throws a tantrum, listen to our silly